Twitter is utterly humiliated as nations around the world rise up against big tech censorship. In this video, we're going to take a look at the international condemnation of Twitter's suspension of President Trump, how Twitter executives got caught in a cringeworthy display of hypocrisy, and how a growing chorus of concerned nations is rising up against the threat of big tech oligarchs to democratic freedom. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you as always. We believe the worldwide populist revolt has just begun, and we're here to give you conservative hope in the midst of admittedly turbulent and trying times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We would love to have you as a regular part of this channel where each and every single day we analyze often distressing current events, but in light of very hopeful conservative trends so you can think better and therefore feel better. Before we dive in here, let's give a huge shout out to sponsor this video, and that's our good friends over at Virtual Shield. Gang, now if you are not using what's called a VPN or a virtual private network on your desktop, tablet, or mobile device while browsing the internet, you really are then exposing yourself to a lot of potential danger. But protecting yourself online simply has never been easier. And to make it even better, our good friends over Virtual Shield, they're offering our audience 50% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons. So do not wait. It is a limited time offer. Click on that link in the description below and sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN today. All right, let's dive right in here. Nations across the world are uniting in their absolute condemnation of Twitter's suspension of President Trump's account. And this is an absolutely amazing and wonderful development here. Many world leaders are calling Twitter's actions an egregious example of outright censorship, which is not only suspended President Trump, but also by implication overruled the free choice of Trump's 80+ million followers. They are the ones who should be left to make the decision of who is and who is not followed on Twitter, not Jack Dorsey or any other bunch of unaccountable Silicon Valley leftist executives. The Chancellor of Germany herself, Angela Merkel, was one of the more vocal critics of the move, calling Twitter's actions, quote, problematic. Merkel's spokesman reiterated that the freedom of opinion is a fundamental right of, quote, elementary significance. And he went on to say, quote, this fundamental right can be intervened in, but according to the law and within the framework defined by legislators, not according to a decision by the management of social media platforms. Seen from this angle, the Chancellor considers it problematic that the accounts of the U.S. president have now been permanently blocked, close quote. Okay, we'll take it. We'll take problematic from Angela Merkel. Welcome to the party. That's cool. French President Emmanuel Macron's administration has expressed their concerns in this as well. The junior minister for European Union Affairs said that he was, in his words, shocked to see a private company make such a paramount and frankly global decision. And he went on to say, quote, this should be decided by citizens, not by a CEO, close quote. Nice alliteration there. And he went on to say that big online platforms, digital oligarchies, he actually used that term, are one of the biggest threats to democracy that we face today. Bravo. And even the president of Mexico weighed in, saying that the blatant censoring of President Trump was, in his words, quote, a bad sign. And he went to say that this was little more than a, quote, court of censorship like the Inquisition to manage public opinion. This is really serious, close quote. Again, bravo. But these statements of denunciation pale in comparison to what a number of other nations are doing in rising up against the tyranny of a big tech oligarchy. It's really so awesome to see the rise of nationalist populist leaders acting like Gandalfs and shouting out, to this media monster, you shall not pass. And that's precisely what we're seeing all throughout the world today. So let's start with Uganda. Now, this is just too good. You probably heard about this because it involves Twitter getting totally self-owned. They absolutely humiliate themselves, these executives over at Twitter. So the nation of Uganda has their presidential elections coming up. It's tomorrow, in fact. And as part of preparing for that election, the government of Uganda announced that they were banning Twitter and Facebook and other social media platforms until further notice, until after the election. Now, this act of censorship, which of course is what it is, this act of blocking and censoring, Twitter public policy on their tweet actually had the audacity to whine about the banning. And here's what the Twitter public policy tweeted out. Quote, ahead of the Ugandan election, we're hearing reports that internet service providers are being ordered to block. They're being ordered to block social media and messaging apps. We strongly condemn internet shutdowns. This is true. They are hugely harmful, violate basic human rights and the principles of the hashtag open internet. This is not a Babylon Bee satire. This is real. This is Jack Dorsey's Twitter staff who just permanently blocked the President of the United States social media and messaging app, lecturing another nation, condemning another nation for doing exactly what Jack Dorsey did. Can you think of a more explicit example of just how aloof from reality these big tech oligarchs are? Can you think of a more blatant demonstration of the kind of bubble that these people live in? It's absolutely humiliating. It's the level of cringeworthiness, the self-owning. I mean, you just don't see this every day. And Jack Dorsey, to the extent that he's involved in this, and I'm assuming he is, I mean, he walked right into it without seemingly the slightest awareness of just how pathetically hypocritical these comments, these written public comments are. It's beyond comprehension. How someone like that, so deaf, so unaware to their own social reality, could possibly oversee a multi-billion-dollar company like Twitter. I mean, it's beyond belief. Oh, by the way, where was this Twitter public policy outrage when Parler was blocked by a coordinated effort between Apple, Google, and Amazon, huh? Where were they on that one? Isn't that the gratuitous, egregious blocking of the free flow of information you're so concerned about? And you'll notice this tweet from Twitter exemplifies the complete opposite perspective of what Merkel and Macron, the Mexican president, were saying in their protest to Twitter's actions. Do you notice? These world leaders, they believe matters of free speech need to be handled at the legislative level where you're dealing with public servants who are accountable to the voters, to the people, not at the level of corporate oligarchs who are completely immune from such accountability. Apparently, the execs at Twitter have the opposite view. They think they are the ones who should police what speech is allowed and what isn't, not governments. The Ugandan government is suppressing people's human rights when they block this free flow of information. But when Twitter does it, when big tech oligarchs do it, that's to protect us and keep us safe. It's righteous and beyond reproach. This self-own was about as cringeworthy as it gets. But Uganda is not alone. In fact, Uganda is just the beginning. But first, in response to the latest progressive purge, we here at Turley Talks are currently setting up a number of different alt-tech sites so that we never lose touch with each other. And we would love to share with you all the different sites that we're on and will be on. And you could find out by simply clicking on the link below and signing up for our alternative media directory. Now, this directory is going to make sure that you and I find, well, it's going to make sure that you find the alt-tech site that works best for you. And it's going to make sure that you and I never lose touch. And we can have all the benefits of this channel, but without the censorship. Absolutely free. My gift to you, just sign up by clicking on the link below and download it today. Alrighty, so it looks like much of the world really is waking up here. In India, there's a massive backlash brewing against the Twitter ban. One of the more prominent members of parliament, Tejavi Surya, he's a prominent member of the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party. He's sounding the alarm of the logic of what Twitter did to Trump. So as far as he's concerned, if Twitter can do this to the President of the United States, they can do it to anyone, including the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, who now officially enjoys the largest follower account on Twitter. He was number 2 behind Trump, and he and Trump are very good friends. The BJP is a thoroughly Hindu nationalist populist party and enjoys massive majority in India. And so leaders in India are coming out and saying that these big tech firms are indeed the new globalist oligarchs that must be pushed back against. India wants nothing to do with this. In addition, the conservative nation of Poland has just introduced a bill that proposes heavy fines against big tech, which is aimed at enabling internet users to file complaints against the removal of their online posts, as well as the creation of a special court for matters involving freedom of speech online. According to Visegrad 24, the law, quote, would fine big tech firms $2.2 million every time they unconstitutionally censor lawful speech online. Under its provisions, social media services will not be allowed to remove content or block accounts if they do not break Polish law, close quote. And by the way, Visegrad 24, which reports on issues in Poland and Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, I believe it was not long after they reported on this, if you could believe this, their account on Facebook was actually suspended. If that's not an irony of ironies, I've got, I've no idea what is. Even the European Union, whose regulations over the internet is rather problematic in of itself, but nevertheless, even the EU is pushing back against the unbridled power of these big tech oligarchs. So it does indeed look like a number of nations around the world are waking up here. They're beginning to realize that corporate oligarchs can be just as tyrannical as any government dictator. And I'm delighted to see that more and more governments around the world are beginning to fight back, and fight back hard. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how Nancy Pelosi is accusing the DC rioters of choosing their, quote, whiteness over democracy. Yeah, if you're confused, so was I, but I don't think you're going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.